Assalamu alaikum and welcome to What's the Story. I hope you guys had a fantastic year 24 and now we're in the year 25 and I hope it has started very well for you and the rest of the year goes fantastic. If you have watched our show before, you have seen brilliant individuals that complement our community and also What's the Story is about sometimes political issues, anything that goes around, anything that we think that has a good story to it. Today is something that is actually close to my heart because it's to do with the Indian restaurant trade, and it's been in the Bengali committee for many decades, and it's something that's paved the way for many of us into new industries and has taken us to different levels. I've got an individual with me today who has actually, the Financial Times thought it was important to do a little article about him and his restaurant, also the Evening Standards and many other platforms. So we definitely should make a story about this. Now, I've got Suhel Ahmed from Tower Tandoori, which is one of the oldest Indian restaurants in London, and we'll be speaking about how he got involved. He's seen his father, run the restaurant, his grandfather run the restaurant, and so many other stories behind the history of that particular restaurant. So welcome to the show, Suhel.
Thank you for having me, Sasa.
Thank you very much for coming. It's always a pleasure to see you. A vibrant young man, so energetic.
And you too.
Thank you. Right, so Financial Times did a little article on you, and like I said, the Evening Standard before. How did that come about?
So it's been going on for approximately 6 months.
Yeah.
And I was approached by Financial Times, a reporter who we became friends in the end.
Okay, fantastic.
So he came to see me at my restaurant, and then there was a process. I think they had to vet me.
Okay.
To basically verify who I am, to start off with, and they had to sort of come up with a story as well.
Right.
Sometimes the story that they come up with in the beginning is not always the story that they go with.
Okay.
They have a hierarchy system as well.
Okay.
So if the editor doesn't approve, then they have to go back to scratch again.
Okay.
So initially the story was completely different. It was more about our industry,
Right.
and then the person in question, he decided that the story would be better if he highlights my restaurant and my journey.
Right. Okay. So obviously you saw that the importance in that, and you must have done a good job.
I'm quite friendly with everyone, and maybe that's helped. But he also realised that I'm genuine, and he saw the restaurant operation. He saw how our restaurant was, the day-to-day operation of it, how the tandoori works, how the staff work. He saw basically that there was lots of people working here, and we were all passionate about the same thing.
Okay.
And he realised there's a story there.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, the reason I said it's something that's close to my heart is because I've been on the same journey, and you know that I'm involved in the Indian restaurant trade or the Bangladeshi restaurant trade. But it started off, everything used to be Indian before, right? Because most of us knew, or the people in this country, they knew the Indian people more, maybe, or the tandoori more, and so on and so forth. And I used to go to school, and then in the weekends used to go to the restaurant, and that's how I learned the trade. And even though I did so many things in between, I come back to this.
Pulled back.
Yeah. That's why I thought, it's a brilliant story. Someone young like yourself, and you're still carrying on the legacy.
I wouldn't say young anymore, but
well, you look very young, and I would say young, even if you don't. But Tower Tandoori itself is one of the oldest restaurants, right? So what does it mean to you are continuing the legacy? Your grandfather started it.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So Tower Tandoori, I have my own personal connection with Tower Tandoori from day one. So the day I was born, my grandfather took me to the restaurant before he took me home.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Because in those days, most of the staff were family members, and because I was born in Guy's Hospital near the restaurant. So
so before going home,
I was taken to work.
Okay. Wow.
So it's a family story that everybody knows about. And obviously my grandfather was, proud to kind of he's a newborn in the family, and my dad there's a story that, you know, on that day we the restaurant was reopened because we had gone through an expansion.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was one site which is about, it started off as life as a 500 square foot site.
Right.
And then on that night, the night I left hospital to go home, it became 1,000 square foot or something like that.
Okay.
You know, a bigger restaurant, a double fronted restaurant.
Expanded. You were born on that day as well. Reopened.
I was taken home on that day, so went from the hospital to
what a great privilege.
To East London, where we lived for, you know, the house I was born in, my grandfather's house. And you know, he wasn't like he was a visionary, my grandfather.
Yep.
So you know, he could see that having a business in Tower Bridge, he could see that, you know, there was legs there in that business, you know, and he could understand the value of having a restaurant business or a property or whatever in Tower Bridge.
Yeah, very central part of London. Yeah.
Even when, you know, other people were giving him different ideas, even when everybody was working as even my grandfather, he was a tailor. He started off life as a tailor.
Really?
And the BBC did do a documentary.
A lot of people at that time. My dad was also a tailor, actually. So you know.
My grandfather did come here very early on. He came in the late 40s, early 50s. He was, you know, he wasn't new to business. No. He was already he was a landlord in the 50s.
Wow.
So, but in the Bangladesh,
so he was already an entrepreneur.
He had businesses already, you know. And Tower Tandoori was, I would say, his last business.
Right.
My dad's and my uncle's first business. Well, they were young at that time in the 70s. Yeah. But my granddad had already been, along with my dad, who was, and my uncle, who were young at the time.
He's been through other industries, and he's thought at the end, let's open up a restaurant.
They had the first Bangladeshi or Bangladeshi owned laundry company.
Wow.
Which still exists today. Restaurant Laundry Company.
Okay. Right.
Capital Linen, it was called. So they also had a sari shop.
Okay.
They're cash and carry.
They've always been in business,
you know.
Fantastic.
A very entrepreneurial family, you know. So as you can imagine, I've got a very good example.
Got to follow in the footsteps.
Very good role models. Yeah.
Yes, you have. Yes. Right. So okay. So that's how it started off, and that's the what it means also for you to.
There's a sentimental value there.
Yeah.
Because of my family connection. You know, grandfather, father. You know, it wouldn't make sense for me not to carry on this business, which has gone through you know, they're given so much blood, sweat and tears.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense for me to not carry on.
So when did you first get involved in actually the day-to-day?
I would say since the age of, I would say 8, 9, 10.
Goodness me.
We've been.
That's very early.
My dad is a very good, how do I explain it? A communicator.
Right.
He's a good communicator. He understands the way to kind of bring up a child, I would say. He's an expert at that. I can speak fluent Bengali.
Yep.
I can speak fluent Sylheti because my dad was very strict when we were young, and he wouldn't let you know, us speak English at home.
Okay.
So Bengali.
So English outside, Bengali at home. Yeah. So you get best of both worlds.
Exactly. And because we grew up in a house which had 3 generations: grandfather, father, and then us. So we were always encouraged to communicate, encouraged to be part of the business as well. So from a very young age, you know, we were told to come and help do the shopping, the vegetable shopping. Come and help.
It always helps. I mean, with family values around and the teachings of how important families are, getting involved in the family business.
It all starts at home. Yeah.
Definitely, yes.
So giving leaflets, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Helping write marketing letters to give to pubs and hotels, that kind of stuff.
So from a very early age, you were picking up all these techniques.
On the weekend, we would go to the restaurant, would help make those napkins. You know, those fan napkins that you see in some old Indian restaurants?
Yes. You used to make those. Yeah.
All those things we were kind of trained from a very young age, and we saw it more as a hobby.
Okay.
It wasn't seen as a job. It was seen as more of a hobby, and then it slowly, you know, it becomes part of your life.
Yeah. No, I remember doing all that, and it was something that I used to look forward to, you know, in the weekend. So it was very nice.
Yeah.
What about the challenges that you faced? Obviously, from a young age, you got involved in learning all the tips. What moment of your life did your dad say, you know, I'm going to take a step back? And you are you the eldest in the family?
I'm the eldest.
Yeah. So what moment of your life?
Our restaurant, it's a big business. It's seats up to 100 guests.
Right.
I would say it's a sizable.
Recently expanded a bit more, haven't you?
Yes. We've made it slightly bigger to make it more accessible. You know, it has disabled toilets and all that kind of stuff. So just to make it more comfortable for guests, we've spent a lot of money on it. And if you don't invest in the business, then you know you can't run a business without investing in it regularly. So, as you know, but the main reason, kind of over the years, as I finished my education, and I studied business at university, and then I studied management as a master's degree. So I was always a business-oriented person, entrepreneurial, and always had that entrepreneurial spirit. And I was hands-on in a business.
But did you always know while you were, going through that academic, era of your life?
I had always wanted to become
part of Tower Tandoori, yes?
So my intention has always been, if I do another 10 businesses, that doesn't matter. Tower Tandoori will still be, my business as well. Do you know what I mean? Because I see that business as more of a, it's a legacy business, and it's part of my heritage. Not just my heritage; it's part of Bangladeshi heritage.
Yeah, it is.
So that's why I give it a lot of importance, and I have always wanted to become the owner of Tower Tandoori.
And you are. I mean, it was inevitable, wasn't it? I mean, from the age of 8 when you got involved.
But there have been, there have been struggles. Nothing comes easy.
This would be my next question. What kind of struggles and challenges that you have faced? You're a third generation owner, and how have you overcome them?
Look, as you know, in business, there probably isn't any problem that I could say to you that you haven't faced. And the same with me. Whether it be emotional, whether it be something to do with the restaurant, whether it be financial, there's always issues. Even the whole generational gap. My dad is second generation Bangladeshi. He came here when he was very young, so he went to college here. He understands how London works. He understands how England works. So I will always have that kind of competition in a way with my dad. Can I be better than my dad, or am I doing enough to please my dad? That thing has, everyone faces it.
But there's been a moment, the stereotype of being a restaurant owner, and I faced that. But I'm very, very proud of being a restaurant owner. And what I say to people is, I give examples of all these, Hollywood big actors, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Everyone's got restaurants.
I said, look, they're very successful, but at the end of the day, what do? They do open up a restaurant.
Sharif Islam has a restaurant.
Yes, and it's a nice place to sit, have people come to you. If you're a people's person. So, but there was a little, in our Bengali community. Why? I think it's because
it's a taboo.
Because they started off with the restaurant business. Selling curry and rice. And in between, especially the women. We're not going to get married to somebody who's that kind of stereotype that was around. But it's all changed now because it's very glamorized now with big names in the restaurant trade and the kind of people that we have invited.
I also feel it all depends on how you perceive.
Absolutely.
As a person, how you perceive it. So if you think of it as a negative type of employment, or if you see it as a negative style of business, I know there is the whole alcohol side, which everybody is trying to sort of move away from. Even I am trying. So but I have my own plans to do it in a different way. But that doesn't mean.
So as time goes, obviously we want to modernize. We want to go with the times.
We want to move with the times.
Move with the times and so forth. And few issues you mentioned there, but. As the question was the what kind of struggles have you faced and the overcoming, and obviously the all this that we mentioned about stereotype and the taboo and all that didn't matter to you because
never.
You knew that you want to be part of this.
I'm very sort of, I would say sometimes a bit too humble. You know what I mean? But the thing is, when it's your own business, you don't mind mopping the floor. And I'm not, what do you call it? Embarrassed to say that. I know many people who are slightly embarrassed to.
That's a sign of success. That's actually a sign of success because as somebody who does that, you can see that person going very far in life.
To be honest, we're all human. And if I see it as a if I see it as a negative thing to do, or if I see it as a taboo, or this job is beneath me or something like that, then I'm not being true to myself. And I can't do that. And it's all, I think it all goes back to the way your family is structured as well.
Absolutely.
Nobody was born, you know, with millions.
No.
Everybody had to work hard.
But you know, you start from scratch, right? And it's funny you said that, because with Feast and Mishti, my restaurant, when I took over at one point, one of my old staff came and saw me with a broom, and he said, "Baisab, I know you're going to be successful." You know, because
it's a sign of success.
Because I said, look, there's no, you know, no job is too small, or no job is
too big or small.
Absolutely. So you know, that we can share that actually. Now, with regards to obviously all kinds of business, right? Whatever you're in, you have to be ready for.
You have to be resilient. You know?
Absolutely.
You know, it's not the type of business that you can say, "Oh, look, you know, I failed. I'm leaving it." It's not that type of business, because it's got such a heritage and legacy behind it, and it's got that family connection. It's not a business that I can say, "Oh, look, it didn't work this week or last month or whatever. I don't want to do it anymore." It doesn't work like that.
No,
it's too much kind of hard work and too much effort and too much history behind it that you have to move on. You have to make something. If it's a negative, make it into a positive. Find a way.
And there's always a way.
There's always a way.
Right. And you know, what I was going to say is, you obviously, with all business, you got to do your due diligence. Where you're doing it, what kind of demographics are there,
exactly.
You know, what kind of food you're going to be providing.
Absolutely.
You've got to look at all these things, but mathematically, I think that there is, you know, whatever you do in business, if you do the maths correct, you can't fail.
And if you work hard on it, and if you find your forte, and if there are any teething issues, you can find a way to tweak your model if you need to, and you can make it work.
Okay, right. So, I mean, with that, obviously, there are other businesses that you're involved in, you told me, right? How do you manage Tower Tandoori? And also, you know, what keeps you inspired as an entrepreneur?
How I manage Tower Tandoori, I feel over the years, I've become more understanding that not everything has to be done by me. Just because I know how to make a naan bread doesn't mean I'm going to go and make a naan bread. Do you know what I mean? So I've learned how to delegate. I think as I've become older in business as well, I think it's not just about age. I think you have to become, you can't just go from 0 to 10. You have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to go through the process of becoming a business person as well. And I think that's helped me, and I've learned to delegate. I've learned to become more kind of stepping back a bit, and let other people do it, and they can probably do a better job than you anyway.
You got to put your faith there, and also if you have the ability to delegate, because most of our restaurants, or in the early years, you know, we used to have this understanding,
like a micromanagement thing.
We've got to be there. You know, in this kind of time,
even now, we do need to be there.
Absolutely, yes,
but there are ways of being there.
Absolutely, yes. And I've been told that, you know, Sharif, you run your restaurant with a remote control, and I said, well, you know, this is why remote control was invented.
You should, exactly.
It was invented. So you can stay away, and most of the year, you know, most of the months of the year, I'm away. I'm out of the country. But
I noticed that, and that keeps you fresh as well. I also feel that over the years I've become more organized, and with being more organized and having more processes in place and everything, those kind of small things. If you've got something in place, then people buy into it, and your staff buy into it, and they understand that it's important, and they will be you when you're not there. It takes time, but everybody can do it. It's not brain surgery. You know?
No, absolutely.
The second question was inspiration. I think initially it was the whole grandfather, father. Every one of my family members has worked in this restaurant. My brothers, my cousins, my uncle, the second cousin.
So you've got this heart-to-heart,
of course,
attachment,
connection to it. But now it's less of a family business. The only two family is myself and my brother who are there, and the rest are people who are not immediate family, but they become family when they come into the business. But I think over the time the inspiration has changed slightly, because as you have kids, you grow older, you understand that your inspiration changes slightly. So my inspiration at the moment is more to do with the fact that I want my children to see me in a light how I saw my dad. When I was, you
want to be that good role model.
I want to be that fantastic role model, whether it be at home or at work, or in the open world, in the community. However, I saw my dad from a young age. I saw him working very hard. I saw him, being involved in lots of good things, projects,
and that is a charity itself, being a good role model, because charity starts from home. We say, and if you're the best to your children, if they look up to you, and then they can, in turn give a benefit to others.
Exactly.
What can be better than that? Do you understand?
So that's my inspiration. I would say to ensure that I am seen in the right light by my kids. Not just people from the outside world. My kids are probably the most important. I need to be the best for them 100%, more than anyone.
100%, yes, fantastic. So what kind of advice would you give to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps? Someone who sees
my footsteps,
third generation, somebody who sees,
there are better role models.
Suhel Ahmed, no, but you're here on the show today, and obviously you made a difference. Your grandfather started it, your father after him, and then you are there. Someone might look at this show today, watch you, and think, this guy's done a tremendous job. What kind of advice would you give to them?
Oh, you've caught me off guard. No. Okay, so I would say that anybody that has a family business, whether it be a restaurant or any type of business, doesn't matter. And if they are passionate, and if they really want to carry this business on and enjoy legacy, if they want to be able to say, our family has been in our family for 3 generations. Our business has been in our family for 3 generations.
Something to be proud of.
So our business is London's oldest, or our business is England's oldest. Our business has been around for 50 years. To say those things, you need to have a different mindset. You need to understand that before business comes family. So that would be number one. And then everything else. With business, every business has its traits. But I would say that the most important thing is be organized, do the right things, and treat it as not just a business, but as part of a portfolio of business. So that way you won't see it as, how do I explain this? You won't see it as taking your social energy. If you have different businesses, then you can stay fresh. And if you want to be in business, then you can see that this is one of my businesses, this is another one of my businesses. And if you give your time in a correct way, then you will find that you can build success in all your businesses.
So you've got to balance that, and
you have to balance it.
Give time to all of them, and also because you can't be there all the time, you have to have a good team. Right. In all
I think the team starts from the person in charge. If the person in charge has got the right mindset and has a positive attitude, I always say positive attitude is the most important. If you have a smile on your face and your body language is good, then you're halfway there.
So it's been there for such a long time, that restaurant. What are the changes that you made? We talked about, going along with times. In
2019, during COVID, funnily enough, we had a major refurbishment. I think we've invested approximately £500,000 of making this, not just this establishment, but everything around it. We've expanded our kitchen. It used to be like 500 square foot. Now it's like 1,000 square foot kitchen.
You doubled it.
So there's like different sections. So for
you modernized it a bit more.
Modernized it. It's very state of the art kitchen. There's like the whole kitchen is very state of the art, and then in one corner we have other tandooris, but our original charcoal tandoor is still there. So this original charcoal tandoor has been in our family for 50 years.
Is it still in use?
It's still in use. It still works, and we still use it.
I remember those. The old, now you got the gas ones, but the
charcoal tandoor has a mind of its own, so it's not for everyone.
And the food is different as well.
Exactly.
Taste of it is
so
slightly.
we've modernized in that sense. We've tried to keep up with the times. We've become more of a tourist restaurant because of the proximity to Tower London, Tower Bridge, and the Shard and London Eye. So I think we've captured a different market in the last maybe 10 years.
What about your regulars then? You've got
we still do have regulars, but very minimal. Initially, when I started working in early 2000, people used to come to the restaurant to meet my dad. They used to be like, "Where's Shab?" My dad's name is Shab. So people used to go, "Where's Shab?" And then it became, my name is Suhel, but customers affectionately called me Sam.
All right.
And my brother, his name is Imon, and so they said, "Where's Imon? Where's Sam?" So people used to come to just meet us.
That's a good sign when people look for you. And
because we were part of this community called Bermondsey. So Bermondsey is a very old English neighbourhood. Those who know it know it. But then over time, these people have moved
That's
on.
what I was going to ask you that actually. So you've been there for such a long time again.
Yeah.
What have you done to contribute towards the community?
So look, initially,
because I remember you did a charity event once, and so you must be involved.
Oh, definitely.
The local mayor, the local MPs, and
So we run an organisation called Tower Bridge Road Alliance, which is a business association for Tower Bridge Road, which runs from the roundabout Bricklayers Arms, and it goes all the way to the bridge.
Right.
So it's a big network, and so I'm one of the project leads of that organisation. The other thing we do is we like to be involved in charitable deeds in London, not just abroad, but Crisis, I'm sure you've heard of.
Yep.
Also the Felix Project, which helps homeless people. Their depot is not far from here. It feeds 5,000 people every night. So we are actively involved with them, but we also do smaller things, such as helping schools. There's an old people's home. It doesn't matter, which religion or which background a community is. It's part of our community.
Absolutely,
it's part of the Tower Bridge community, so we see it as our own.
And especially if you're a part of the community and you're involved, you've got to be involved in
definitely
all kinds of activities. I mean, two benefits. One is you're benefiting others, and in turn that benefits you.
Exactly.
And the other is you're part of that community. It's your community.
It's a form of PR as well, because if you do something,
you get a name for it as well. Yes,
people recognize you as Suhel from Tower Tandoori. You're not just Suhel.
The restaurant that I started working with, it's about 40 years old now, right? And the good thing we can say about it is like the grandparents used to eat here, then the parents, and now the children.
So the same thing.
It's been going on, and it's got in the olden days they used to say it's our local pub, it's our local Indian, and even if I go there now, that sense of attachment, the sense of belonging, is still there.
We don't have that as much anymore because of the tourist element. Most of the people have moved out to Kent and Surrey and different places, and most people have grown old, or they don't eat curry anymore, or they're not with us anymore. So so there's lots of things. But then every week we would get one person, or every other week, oh, I know your dad, or I remember the restaurant when it was like this. There used to be a pond here. Do you know what I mean? That people talk like that, and so we entertain it.
Brings back memories, and it's something to be proud of.
Exactly.
So how do you feel Tower Tandoori contributes to preserving Indian and Bangladeshi, culinary heritage?
Oh, that's a very good question. So look, Tower Tandoori, not only is it important to my family, my family has come to this country in, like I said, in the late 40s, early 50s, and it's a story of my family, but it also belongs to the Bangladeshi community, because my grandfather was one of the first Bangladeshi landlords in East London, and Tower Tandoori has employed numerous people, and it is the story for many others. So the chef now, he has been working here for 15 years or whatever. It's his story as well. There's a one of our head waiters. He's been with us for about 20 years. He's almost my dad's age, but this story, Tower Tandoori, also belongs to him, and also it belongs to Bangladeshi migration, the immigrants of Bangladesh.
Absolutely.
It belongs to, Tower Tandoori belongs to them.
Absolutely. Fantastic. That's a very good way of putting it. All these guys, they've got a story, and it's true, because
I nothing without them.
Absolutely. I know good staff who say, I've got staff who say, I want to stay in feast for the rest of my, rest of the term of feast itself.
And why not? Because
I've been there for so long, and I say, look, you might go somewhere else. This is what I say. You might go somewhere else. You might get a little bit of more. But the respect that you get, the customers that know you, a lot of customers, they know that you belong here. This is a part of you, as it is a part of, you're a part of it.
Absolutely.
So this is something that's very sort of connected to the staff who's been working there for a long time.
Exactly.
And then, I know restaurants who, that individual from that actual restaurant itself.
So
it's because
some of our staff have nicknames. So there's a guy, his name begins with C, but the customers call him Charlie. So it's just a bit of fun,
Yeah, no, we still have that as well. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Right, thank you. I mean, thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
On What's the Story, and
thank you for having me.
It is a fantastic story again, and we inspire others, and we get inspired.
Definitely.
And just for the viewers, just to say, you know, something that you've been with for such a long time. It is embedded in your heart and soul, and it's always a good thing that you can be connected with the community. You can be connected with anything that you can be connected with, to be honest, because we need connection, we need attachment, we need something that we can say we belong to. And what better than, you know, something that your grandfather started, and it's something that you can be proud of, saying, you know, my grandfather, my father and me, and I want my children to carry on with this as well. Many few can say that, but those who can, I think they're lucky ones. So I hope you enjoyed the show on What's the Story, and until next time, Assalamu alaikum.